Consider ordinance.
They don't make any noise in the setting.
They're not noisy. You know, they get up, especially if you're living near one. You know, you have farmland, now you have this massive, like, glary.
So they want to see a housing plan?
Well, I know it's always the alternatives, right? Would you plan? Would you
I just think, like, I look at it more from a not what we look at, but like the direct impact to me. If I'm in my house and there's a solar farm next to me, there's no impact.
Yeah, it's a cemetery. It might be freak you out, but they don't make any noise.
Yeah, so, I mean, you know.
There's several big, whole farms or so. I went up to one and stood up the fence, and they moved with the sun. You can't hear anything. You can't smell anything. But you climb over the fence, they're looking. They're benign. Nobody's there. Nobody's working there.
Some of the concerns relate to the battery storage, so like there's battery storage on site. This stuff's not going directly to the grid, and there's battery storage. There are like fire concerns and hazard concerns. That's another thing that comes up.
They normally send it to the grid. They have a contract to send it to the
And
grid.
but to Tom's point, like if you put a housing plan there, you have fire hazards.
And noisy neighbors and fights.
I just like if you're looking at like all the industrial impacts to me, solar farm is the least impact compared to like a compressor station or a data center.
Yeah, I mean,
That's my opinion.
it's your call. I think the big things you guys are gonna have to decide is where and right. Do you want the R1 or do you not want the R1?
That's our big area. That's the only open area. It would be way in the middle of Suffolk. There, with that problem.
Right, I agree. Could it be conditional use?
It is.
Or conditional use with specific exceptions for like so many acres.
Oh yeah, you have it. Well, you have acreage minimum. I think we did 7 acres again.
But I'm saying, like, could it be 7 acres for
I
all
moved
the
it
other
up to
ones,
7
but a
acres.
bigger acreage?
This one was part by R1. It's just commercial industrial.
We're about ready to start, Kim.
I'm ready.
Thanks.
So we need minimum lots of 7 acres.
Darlene, you good?
I'm good. I'm good. Could you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
All good things to talk about.
Just some changes.
We definitely need another hearing on this one. You haven't even heard from the public yet. And again, these things are about it. You want to hear those comments. So.
Jack, we good? Okay, with it being 8 o'clock, I'd like to call the Cecil Township Board of Supervisors public hearing to order Monday, January 5th, 2026. Roll call, let the record show Supervisors Schifoni, Fisher, Cassiola, Gizio, and Barney participating by phone, as well as Township Manager Dawn Januso, Assistant Manager Jack King, Police Chief Sean Bukovinsky, and Fire Chief still with us, Teddy Wolford. Thanks for hanging out. At this time, we'll have a swearing in for anybody that's going to give testimony or would like to speak in this hearings, any of these three.
Okay, if everybody who wants to speak tonight could stand and raise your right hand.
Even if you think you might speak or say something, get sworn in.
Okay. And our court reporter is not physically here, so I'll just administer the oath. She is stenographically taking everything down, but she's remote. So is the testimony you're about to give tonight the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay. You're all good?
Okay, the first hearing we're going to address is actually at the bottom. If you have the blue sheet with the agenda, 3 hearing items, we're going to do the one at the bottom first. An ordinance of the Township of Cecil, Washington County, Pennsylvania, amending the following sections of Chapters 240, zoning of the Cecil Township Code of Ordinances, Section 240-34, SD Special Development District, to add subsection G2, allowing for a house of worship, college or university, a commuter college, a school primary or secondary, and a school, trade, or business as a commercial land use by right, providing for repealer, severability, and an effective date. We'll open this hearing up. Do we have any comments from the board first of? Comments from the audience on this? Come up to the podium, state your name, address.
And just so it's clear, what the board is proposing here is to make those uses a use by right, whereas previously they were a conditional use in the SD district.
Ray Don Machowski, 200 Evandale Road, Canonsburg, Pennsylvania. I'm actually the pastor at the church at South Point, and so we're honored that we're able to be here tonight to get some assistance from you to allow us to continue to have services in 401 Technology Drive.
Thank you.
Do you want me to say more? I can.
Yeah. No, that's great.
No, as I shared, as far as, me being committed to this township, I worked for Federated Investors. For the last 23 years, we were pretty much really implanted in this community. We were looking for a second data center, and we actually have a facility on 601 Technology Drive where we brought dark fiber into this facility so many other businesses could take advantage of high-speed connectivity to the internet, to their communications facility or whatever. And then fast forward in 2015, we built a brand new home in the South Point area. And then fast forward in 2024, we had the opportunity of planting a church in this great community. And we're here to really help impact the community and bring some stability, working with folks like yourself, with Sean. We met with him several times, and we're just honored to be able to be here tonight to help get the approval to move forward.
Thank you.
Frank, in addition to houses of worship, all the schools have been added into the South Point use by right. There have been, over a number of years, there have been schools in South Point already. How they got there, I'm not sure, but this sort of just ratifies their ability to be there as they are. I think Waynesburg was the first one that was established there, and there's been other schools that have wanted to come in, and there's people waiting for other applications to do this work.
Dan, I think the schools came in because they were technically a builder built their building, an owner built a building, and they became a tenant inside.
Yes.
So a lot of times we don't know if that's a tax office in there, but unnecessarily we're familiar with that. So that's how some schools came into existence in existing buildings. No one has built just a building for a school. Yeah,
correct,
Waynesburg didn't do it. Cal didn't do it.
What about Waynesburg, Tommy?
I said Waynesburg didn't do it either. They didn't build their own building.
Okay, so that building was built and they just moved into it as a rental?
Initially.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if they bought
And what
something.
about California?
Same thing. They're in the Bailey building. I don't know if they eventually bought it or not, but they were just a tenant in there.
Okay.
Do you have an issue with schools, Darlene, in
No.
South Point? Okay.
Not at all.
All right.
Not at all. As a matter of fact, we need a hospital over there too. A big hospital, just not the one on 9 acres.
That's all I have, Frank.
Any other comments from the board? Okay, this hearing is closed. Hold on.
We'll just move on to the next one.
Yeah, this one I was gonna close. We'll go up top to the, sure, okay. Yeah, come on to the podium, state your name, address.
My name is Ron Schmidt. The address would be 1 Champion Way, a property owner since 1995 in South Point, the Champion Building. And I'm just here to kind of support this ordinance and support Ray and his church. I've known Ray for over a decade, and in addition to believing strongly in what he's doing, I live in the Wexford area, and I belong to a church, kind of a mega church up there, and that church has locations in Butler and Beaver and Strip District, and right now they're running services in property in Bridgeville, and they'd love to have interest in moving into the South Point community. So I think this would open it up to a lot of other uses. As a property owner and talking to other property owners, tenants are scarce right now. And with a lot of office space in South Point. I think it would be good for the community, especially the house of worships on the weekend. The park is pretty vacant. And it would bring people in to use other amenities in the park. And I'm sure that a lot of people that live in the houses and the townhouses, that they probably leave in South Point to go to other places, other communities, worship on Sundays, keep people there inside the community, which I think is the goal. So, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
AC Rowland, 52 Sycamore Street. I kind of am confused with this, exactly what caused this subsection G2 to need alteration. And kind of from hearing the comments, I guess my perception was different from what this actually is for. So it's to expand churches and these type bill. I'm kind of confused on what this amendment is exactly and why it needed to be added or changed. What happened to cause this to come in before us today?
So what it's doing is making those particular uses a use by right as opposed to a conditional use. I don't know exactly what the impetus was. I understand maybe there were some applications or from churches or schools, and the board felt that it doesn't need to go through the conditional use process, that for these particular categories as enumerated, they can be a use by right.
So this is following up from that other meeting, from the ordinance or zoning meeting? No?
This is separate, and just something, as I think Supervisor Cassiola stated, there are already schools being operated in the SD district. There's already houses of worship, and they really don't provide, they're not hurting, I don't say hurting, that's the wrong word, but they're not providing or having an impact that's detrimental to that district. So why make them, like Gretchen said, why make them go through the whole process of having conditional use hearing when we're going to approve them anyways?
Okay, let's just say, I'm just spitballing here. Let's just say they wanted to open a heroin, rehab facility out of the church. A lot of churches do things, because I'm finding out from going to the commissioners meeting with the drug and alcohol groups. What if something like that? So under this new ordinance, they could just do it. They don't need to come and ask permission or have any, I'm just a little confused at what this is giving them the freedom
I mean,
put
to
in
me,
this
and
space.
Gretchen can answer this, a heroin rehab facility would be separate from a house of worship. So yes, they would need to come before the board and ask for permission for that. But if you're strictly just there worshiping on Sundays, or your California University or Penn West or whatever has schools or colleges up there, that's permitted.
Right, and that's exactly my point, Cindy, is that I don't understand. Seemed like this would have been covered in the existing. I'm just not understanding.
It's not. That's the problem, AC. It's not covered in the existing ordinance. We recognize that it isn't, that they're already being used in that capacity, and so we're altering it to make it approved. That's all. It's really simple. You're making it more complicated than.
I'm just trying to understand what caused this change to be put on the agenda.
So people come in to see Liz, the zoning officer,
Right.
and they need to get an occupancy permit for a space in a building.
Okay.
And they say what their use is, and then Liz looks at the book, and if that use isn't listed in the book, she has a problem. She can't give them an occupancy permit. So this will allow
Or she's
her
assigned
to
the
now
conditional use.
give an occupancy permit to people that are there using it. And we don't always hear when tenants go in, but some tenants need to know that they're okay. They have loans and other things like that. So it's a zoning function, really,
Okay,
is what
so
it is.
this would be my question, then say in Muse, the little red church that they're trying to sell, that the lady came down and wanted to put the dance studio in, and there was some concerns about in and out and traffic. but that is technically still a church. So if they wanted to sublease that to, say, this dance studio and have some type of service at the beginning or end, would that not grandfather them in under this new ordinance? To
no,
just say,
AC.
yeah,
No.
they can do it.
It's a
'cause
different-
it's
it's a-
conditional.
No,
This is-
because it's not. It's a dance studio. So it
it's a
doesn't
different
matter
use.
what the building looks like. The building could look like a church, but if it's being used as a dance studio, then it's a dance studio. So you have to look at the actual use. You can't look at the building. Like if you go up to South Point where California University is and look at the building without any signage, you're not going to know it's a college. But when they come down to Liz, it wouldn't be straight denied. It would just be sent to a conditional use hearing. And it's kind of pointless when 99.99% of the time it's going to be approved. It's just, you're
So
making
they
it.
still have to go through Liz, is my point.
Yes.
Liz
Correct.
is still, it's not like they can just now with this amendment or ordinance change, they can just at free will, free hawk,
No,
light them.
no. They still have to come for
It's just
permits.
the process.
Use it under the guise of a church.
Correct.
Okay.
Right, it's the
That-
same
that was
process.
my confusement with, after hearing some of the speakers.
Yeah, and it's also a particular district, this is just SD, so your example where you gave in use, that's a different zoning district than what, this is only applicable in the SD.
And Muse is village commercial,
Right,
so
right,
it has
right,
its own
right.
set of rules.
So this doesn't even, this wouldn't apply in your example.
Okay, just, but you see why I would question that, because it is a church and they are in the process of either trying to get a new tenant in there or sell it or whatever, that, I thank you for the clarity, because it wasn't quite clear.
Thank you, AC. Any other comments on this hearing? Okay, we'll go to the hearing on the top. The first one that appears, an ordinance to the Township of Cecil Township, Washington County, amending the following sections of the Cecil Township Code of Ordinances as amended, sections 240-39, 1B, to add and amend definitions related to the MUC district, sections 240-39, 1D, to include provisions for properties in the MUC district measuring less than 25 acres and properties in the MUC district measuring 25 acres or more, and Appendix E to accommodate such amendments. Any comments from the board?
This hasn't changed at all from the last hearing that we had.
That's what Gretchen said. We already had one hearing on
Yeah,
this.
so there's no change to this from our last hearing. It's just reiterating it.
No comments from the audience on this? Then it'll be closed. And we will go to the middle one. An ordinance to the Township of Cecil, Washington County, Pennsylvania, amending the following sections of chapters 240, zoning of the Cecil Township Code of Ordinances, amending Article 7, general regulations, to add sections 240-62, primary principal solar energy system, updating section 248, definition to add additional terms, adding principal solar energy systems as a conditional use in sections 240-23, low-density residential, 240-28, general commercial district, 240-32, light industrial district, 240-33, I-2, heavy industrial district, and 240-34, special development district, providing for repealer, severability, and an effective date. Any comments from the board on this?
Right,
Yeah,
just, yeah, so this is a new proposed ordinance. There's definitely gonna be more than one hearing. We've already received some comments from Washington County Planning Commission, some of which I'm going to incorporate, if the board is interested. We haven't received comments from our local planning commission yet. So, this is, solar ordinances are a bit of a bigger deal. We'll have another hearing on it, but we want this evening to get some comments from the public on this version. The big issues are really where it's allowed minimum acreage, and then there's some protections, obviously, that are included in there. But those are kind of the big questions for this board.
And I might add, it is through a conditional use. So if we have a new ordinance, and this is new to us, if we create an ordinance, we could fill it up with all kind of conditions. We could have 57 conditions in it right off the bat. Or we could start the ordinance more simple with like certain express criteria and standards, put a few standards in there that are automatic, and then under conditional use, we could add conditions as it merits, whether, where it's located, if it's close to residential areas or if it's far out in the country, we can add conditions on a case-by-case basis. And I think Dan and I and Jack looked at a bunch of ordinances or model ordinances and other municipalities that had ongoing solar ordinances. And we kind of thought that if we came up with some of the basics that are automatic, that they have to have like fencing and insurance and all these kind of things and screening, we put all the standard ones in there, and then we try to keep it as basic as we can for the initial amount of conditions we put in it, and then as we have each hearing, it'll be case-by-case basis. That group of neighbors, if there's going to be one out in, say, the Venice area, those people would come and give their comments. They'd be more interested, and it could be a conditional use allows it to be conditioned on a case-by-case basis, like I said. So that's why we're really just starting on it. It's a new thing. We have to be prepared for it because if someone comes up with an application and we have no ordinance addressing it, then they were kind of behind the eight ball. It's hard pressed to start putting conditions on somebody that already came to us first before we had something to address it. So Gretchen's helping us with that. And like she said, we'll have a few more here, maybe one or at least one more hearing, if not more. But we got to get an ordinance in place. And our first proposal was the first proposal.
Thank you, Tom.
Just a couple questions. Kara Sheridan, 58 North DePauli. I was curious if this will be addressing both freestanding solar farms and roof-mounted solar farms.
Yeah, we
Okay.
have to include everything.
And did we look at all, do we have, because we have people in Cecil Township with solar panels on their property already, on their roofs, correct? Right,
I believe
okay.
there are.
And do we know if that's only in low-density residential, or is there any reason that we haven't considered, like, for roof-mounted to be allowed in, like, medium or high-density residential? If it's not going to be a separate standing, thing that's in the yard, it's going to be on the roof of the house anyways. It's not really impacting the footprint. I'm just curious if it's been considered.
I've seen houses in Cecil in a higher density residential area with roof-mounted solar panels. So I think we would have to include it as permitted, or they would pre-existing non-conforming. But I like, to your point, I don't see why it's really not impacting anybody, and unless you're looking for them, I don't even know that
It's
you would
even
notice
further
there.
away from impacting anybody else if it's on someone's roof. I mean,
Right.
versus being like freestanding.
The ordinance is more geared towards the farms that are going to be like real businesses. If a homeowner puts it on, it's like them putting an antenna on their roof, or they put a cupola on their roof or something like that. We don't get involved in that. It's just like if they
Is
had
that true? I mean, we don't have to address the roof-mounted part?
the electrical inspector has to address it. It has to
I mean,
be.
in the ordinance, I guess, is what I'm
Well,
asking.
it will be.
Okay.
But if I put panels on my roof or modules on my roof, I have to, electrical inspector would have to come out, and West Penn Power has their own inspections for their own cutoffs, things like that. So there are standards, but it's not something we address as part of like a building on a review plans for a building.
It's defined in the ordinance as or roof mounted. So it's in the definition.
So I'm asking if that will cause confusion. For example, if it says this is for freestanding or roof mounted, and then you only say it's for low density residential, commercial, and then someone has roof mounted in a medium density or high density area, it could potentially cause some confusion.
Are you saying we should have a separate ordinance? I see what you're saying from a zoning hearing board standpoint. So are you saying we should have a separate roof-mounted ordinance from our solar farm ordinance?
It could be broken out.
I'm just
more
asking
clearly.
Kara what she...
Yeah, I'm saying the clarity needs to be there one way or another.
Right.
Either this is what is going to apply to any kind of solar, or this is going to be for roof mounted and this is going to be for freestanding.
But
That's
to
my
your
only
point, I don't think we could do all solar falls under this, because you could have solar panels on people's roofs that are in high density residential areas, and this board may decide that they don't want actual solar farms in high density residential. So they'd have to be separate. Not separate ordinances, but separate requirements.
Carrie-
Called out separately.
Correct.
Yeah, this is primarily geared to your principal solar energy systems, so like the solar farms. It mentions some rooftop stuff in here, but it definitely could be broken out so that it's clear, so that, okay, most of this ordinance applies to PSES, but as it relates to roof mounted, here are the specific criteria.
Yeah, I
You know,
think
there's
we
like
need
it height, maybe a couple other things, and where those could be, which sounds like probably everywhere.
yeah, I mean,
But, you know,
Bill was just, and he's right, like they're in Windsor Woods, they're in Mayfair Meadows, they're
Yes.
in Oak Brook. Like you can see them anywhere.
Yeah.
They already exist.
They're there. Yeah.
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 And Karen, my general research of some of this over the weekend, I think we need to address roof. I wrote down some of the pros and cons, and ground mounted, they're more strictly regulated. They're usually prohibited in front yards because of glare mitigation. I would be concerned, safety, health, and wear for my residents at all times. So I think we would probably have to have stricter regulations on ground mounted. You know, when you get them up in the air, on the rooftops, then you're not going to be affecting
Right.
as many people.
Agreed. Yeah. And one other question that I had is because this came up, because by the way, just for everybody's knowledge, we did have one of these come to the zoning board, and we denied it because it was a ground mounted one, and we denied it because there's nothing, again, like I had brought this up before, in the ordinance that would allow for us, other than looking at it like an accessory structure. And in that case, what they were looking to do wouldn't be possible. So one of the things, though, that was brought up to us that some people were trying to make a clarification about is it a ground-mounted system that's going to contribute back into the grid, or is it a ground-mounted system that's going to provide electricity for the home? I don't know if any of that stuff in your research has come up or not, because I think that there were some things saying, well, like you can do this if it's ground mounted, but it's only servicing like your own property. It's not for you to make money by putting electricity back onto the grid. So I'm just bringing it up as something to look into because it wasn't completely clear to me what the difference in that would be, but
That's actually a really good point because we should clarify, because if you own acreage and you want to put a solar farm in your yard for your own benefit, that's different than you wanting to put a solar farm
profit.
for the benefit
Yeah.
of, yeah.
And maybe, are we going to allow for solar farms to go on to properties that don't have a primary structure or not? Like, that's
And-
another question as well.
And ironically, Gretchen, like that, there was that court case that said for oil and gas development that you can only have one primary, like you can only have one primary principal use on a property. I wonder if that applies to oil and gas or to solar farms,
Right.
because if you're using it for your own, then it would benefit your own property. But if you're using it just strictly to
Exactly.
get money, to me, you would need to subdivide. That's what that case says.
Right, and that whether you want to do that in this ordinance, so whether you want to say, okay, if it is a grid, which is going to be much smaller as well and less impactful for your home,
Right,
it can be allowed as accessory.
right,
But if it's a principal, if it PSES,
right.
and and you're supplying a grid, that has to be a principal structure.
I think
Because
we need to-
literally in the language is it's principal, PSE, principal.
I
solar.
think we have to separate that out too,
And
because
we
you
could
have
clarify
to say,
that,
okay,
yes.
just because a person put a garage on their property first doesn't mean they can't have a secondary accessory structure, which is a freestanding solar panel farm to do whatever for the house. Just kind of a thing, because like that's where we were stuck in the
Yeah.
ordinance. In what we were seeing at the zoning board was they already had an accessory use. And there's a limit on the overall accessory use. So then you have to look at the overall accessory use too, because now if we're going to add solar panels into it, plus one or more garages or outbuildings, like that, this can now impact those numbers too. So like then it's good, you have to go back through the accessory use stuff as well. I just I wanted to bring that up because we saw what could kind of like it took us down a rat hole. I guess there's just a lot of different ways that there's different reasons that people use them, and there's different ways that they use them and stuff. That's all.
yeah, no, those were
Thank
good
you,
points.
Karen.
Thank you.
Good point.
AC Rowland, 52 Sycamore Street. Kara just kind of made a question come up for me is, you're talking about low, mid density use, farm use, personal use. My question would be, what is the ordinance gonna do as far as storage and inspections, maybe annual inspections of these battery packs and different charging stations, or say that they do a solar thing because they have an EV car and they want to solar charge one of those, battery packs in the garage. Because I don't know about you guys, but a lot of that is hard to put out if there's a fire or if it's in a high density area. What kind of language would need to put in there to protect your neighbors, or from just having a non-maintained battery bank system to a solar farm, to a solar home use or whatever.
We have. I'm not sure. We would have to look into that. I'm not sure that we have the ability to inspect, or the staff that could inspect.
May
it.
involve the
I
fire.
know, like the electricity
But I don't
has
know.
to be inspected, like what Tom was talking about.
Everything electrical has to be inspected.
Would those batteries, storage
If-
things be considered?
Well, if you would put in a charging station or anything solar related, you need an electrical permit. If it has electrical involved, there's an electrical permit required.
Even if they do it for like what Kara was saying, it's their farm, they put up this solar, thing in the yard, and they have, a bunch of 12-volt batteries over there in the shed or whatever.
Technically, any electrical work at a home for the building code has to be inspected, has to have electrical inspection.
So there's no give, like if you're a homeowner, like if you do a home repair as a homeowner, you're allowed to do some things without a permit, and some things, like if you're a subcontractor, you can't touch it without a permit.
I don't think we go that far down in the weeds, but if you're putting in a new electrical service, it needs inspected. If you're changing your panel out or your box or anything significant, it needs an inspection. I just thought, well, while we're trying to, get some things that we're looking ahead of, trying to, like Tom said, get ahead of it before you're hit with an issue, just something to consider.
Thank you, AC.
And there are also, to that point, there's other protections that we can do, some of which are already in here, such as financial securities, that's because I'm off. There are other protections that we can do, some of which are already in here, such as financial security, decommissioning, insurance we could add. So there's things we can do for, like a protection basis, and we could strengthen some of those as well. And I believe usually you see I know I've seen separate battery ordinances, like the battery storage ordinances. Those are usually separate. So we might want to consider if there's going to be a concern about having battery storage, to have a separate ordinance related to that. I think I see them as standalone ordinances. So it's a good point, one we should look into.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, this hearing is closed. Go back into,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're going to go back into. the
Jack, we
regular
all right
meeting.
to go back in? We're going to go back into the regular business meeting.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so we're coming out of our recess.
I'm going to make an announcement. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, why don't we do the executive session?
make that announcement. and we'll continue.
Hey, Frank,
Okay.
I might as well stop and restart it, so just give me 2 minutes.
Okay, sure. Sure, Jack.
This happens for a reason.
No, I need Jack to go.
Jack to go back live.
I'll announce it.
Okay, Frank,
I
thanks.
will. You good, Jack? Yep. Okay, we're going to resume our regular monthly business meeting, and I want to announce that the Board of Supervisors did go into executive session on a police personnel matter, and we will pick up now at resolution number 32, 2026. Consider ordinance number 1, 2026, which amends the Cecil Township Code of Ordinances, Section 240-34, SD Special Development District, to add subsection G2, allowing the house of worship, college or university, commuter college, school primary or secondary, and a school, trade or business as a commercial land use by right. I have a motion. Second.
I'll make that motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, let's see. Cindy, do you want to go into this?
You ready for the next one?
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
that now.
I'm going to make two motions. The first one's going to be to add this to the agenda. So this motion is to add to approve the settlement agreement between the township and former patrol officer Chad Truver, and to authorize the appropriate township officials to fully execute the agreement. This motion is to add this to the agenda.
Okay, we have
Well,
a motion and a second
Yeah, it's been moved and seconded.
to add this to the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Aye.
carries.
So now I'm going to actually make a motion to approve the settlement agreement between the township and former patrol officer Chad Truver, and to authorize the appropriate township officials to fully execute the agreement. I'm making the motion, so I just need a second at this point.
We have a motion and a second. Gretchen?
Yeah, my only comment is whether you want to open it up to the public, just because we're adding this, and if there are any comments, we can do that before you all vote.
Okay, do we have any comments from the public on this added agenda item?
What's the settlement about? What is it?
It's a police personnel
police
matter.
personnel
We can't discuss
matter.
it.
What, are we finishing his contract?
He has submitted the
It's a
letter of
police
resignation.
personnel
Right,
matter.
so
We can't.
it's a personnel matter. Obviously, once everything is finalized, if a document is subject to right to know, you can request it in right to know, but it is a personnel matter, and it relates to his employment here. And
Okay, so we have a motion. I have a second.
It's been moved and seconded, Frank.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Resolution 34, 2026, considered...
33.
33.
Okay, I missed one, yeah, I highlighted it up. Resolution 33, 2026, consider the Board of Supervisors minutes from the Monday, December 1st, 2025, regular monthly meeting.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Resolution 34, 2026, consider the Board of Supervisors minutes from the Monday, December 22nd, 2025, special meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Resolution 35, 2026, consider the general fund invoices from December 1st through December 31st, 2025.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. At this time, well, we already did citizens' general comments. Anybody else have anything to say or add to tonight's meeting? No? Any old business and supervisors, and new business? Anybody got anything to say? No? No? Everybody's good? Can I get a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Darlene? Cindy, second?
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, Darlene.
Okay, hey, thanks. My time's running out, Jack.
Yeah, him too. All right, thanks.
Uh-huh.